call me. Um, got the new PC though. It's pretty nice. It's hard to breathe sometimes with this. Um, anyways, so the one day I decided to take off, I'm playing Hearthstone with my friend. I'm having a good time. I told myself I was like, I'm gonna relax for one day. In the morning, we wake up, we go back ham with streaming, back to the app, applying process, everything, like going full back at it, right? Well, that night, I get a text from my ex-girlfriend who I haven't talked to in a month or so. I've been purposefully trying to distance myself from her because I needed to get over her. I'm so fucking tired of her being a part of my life, like honestly. And she texts me that she's pretty sure she's pregnant, and that if she is pregnant, she's gonna abort it. And at first, I'm like, no, this can't be happening. And I was glad that she was thinking about getting the abortion, right? Well, let me preface this with something first. She then tells me, and this is at like 9 o'clock, so I'm like, why don't we go get pregnancy test right now? Let's do it now. And she insisted and said she wasn't gonna do it until the morning, which she's dated me for a year, okay? She knows that I overthink the fuck out of every situation, right? And so there is no reason to wait a whole night to do this shit. All I did, I literally set off like a 14-hour long panic attack. I didn't sleep at all that night. I ended up like driving to Galveston I had a friend that invited me there, and I wasn't going to go because it's not really necessarily responsible, but I could not. I was just pacing around my apartment, freaking the fuck out because she just told me that I could potentially be a dad, okay? I'm freaking the fuck out. And the more I think about it, right? Like, of course, in all practicality, I don't need a kid. And but the more I thought about it, the more I thought about a little me running around, I couldn't stop fucking smiling, bro. Like, I literally couldn't stop this massive grin on my face from thinking about. And then Nico didn't make it any better, and my other friends, because they were just like, oh, you're gonna make him, esports prodigy, best. And anyways, so I started to get attached to this kid that doesn't even exist yet, okay? And anytime someone was like, oh, you should be happy she wants to get an abortion, I found myself starting to get like defensive, like, hey, that's my fucking kid you're talking about there. And I don't want kids until I'm like 24 to 30-ish stretch. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not dumb, okay? I don't think that I should have a kid right now, but it was like, it felt irrational what I was feeling. But my dad was like, no, this is why abortion's such a big topic, because I eventually throughout the night started I would have happy thoughts about this potential child, and then immediately followed by the depressing thought of, it doesn't matter what I want, she's gonna abort it anyways, right? So all I kept doing was going through my head being like, how can I convince the girl who tried to ruin my life to not also kill my baby? Like, how could I do that? That was what was going through my head all night long, and it just was such a depressing thought spiral, bro. And I ended up coming back to my apartment at like 6 in the morning, and I made myself stay awake. And at like 10 a.m., because she planned on coming over to my place to take this test at like noon that day, right? Well, at 10 a.m., she tells me I gave her the courage to go take a test, and she goes and buys a test. No, I'm not against abortion, and I told her I would respect her decision, and I would have, but it doesn't mean I have to like her decision, That's my fucking kid. It doesn't mean I have to like it, right? So anyways, she buys the test. She takes the test. It turns up negative, right? And I'm like, she's like super happy, and I'm like, congratulations for you. I get real sad, actually. I don't know why. Like, I know why, because like I was excited about the potential aspect of being a dad. Like, I'm not saying I'd be ready or anything like that. Like, I'm not naive, but it was still like that's still like I don't even know how to explain it. It's just the feelings I felt were real, like true sadness, okay? And she immediately is like all bubbly, and she invited me out to lunch. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, how are you acting so nonchalant about all this, bro? I'm not against abortion, but I do think that you should at least have a fucking conversation with me if you're gonna have my kid. Like, I should at least be able to be a part of the conversation. You don't just come tell me, hey, if I am pregnant, I'm aborting it immediately. Like, that just, as a situation I have no control over, which is why it felt so bad, okay? Anyways, so she asked me out to lunch, and I immediately am like, I've already been awake 30 hours or 27 hours at this point. Had the most emotionally exhausting night of my fucking life. Like, by far. I feel so drained and so dead, okay? But I agree for one reason. So I can tell her to never fucking speak to me again. Like, that is the goal, is to go up there, have one final conversation with her, and move the fuck on. Like, I am so angry um at her at this point, because everyone I talk to, like, and two of my friends I talked to before I went and saw her were just like, yo, this sounds manipulative. If she'd have kept the baby, it would have fucked you. I don't agree with that. I think all babies are a blessing, but maybe that's just me. I told her if she wanted nothing to do with that kid, I would have raised it myself 100%, like, alone. I wouldn't give a fuck. It's my kid. I'm going to give whatever kid I do end up having, I'm going to give a good-ass life. Like, I know myself. I love harder than anyone I know in this entire life, bro. Anyways, so, back to what I was saying. So, and basically the people I were talking to was just like, yo, the way she went about this is weird. Like, it feels like she's been, just trying to manipulate a way back into your life. Basically, whenever she gets lonely, she tries to find a way to come back in my life and, like, get in my head. And she's succeeded 3 times now. Fuck that shit. I'm over that shit. Anyway, so I go to the lunch with her, right? I go to that lunch, and we're, this is the first time I've ever not paid for a girl's lunch, by the way. And so she starts, like, just talking about, like, music and shit. And I'm like, what the fuck? Anyways, and I start to tell her, I'm like, yo, that was really fucked up of you making me wait a whole day. Like, you should not have done that. You know me. You know how I react. And then she started trying to give me, like, this whole sap story about why she waited to tell me. Oh, and I forgot to mention, she prefaced the first message she sent me the night before with, I was never going to tell you, but, which doesn't make me feel better. I at least have the right to know if I was gonna be a father or not. Like, that's fucking stupid. Anyways, and she's telling me all this sap story about how her January is gone and why she thought she was pregnant and all this shit. I don't believe a single fucking word of it. Now, I believe her life is going downhill, but that's her own fucking karma. She's not been a good person. So, like, to me, it's karma being, it always comes back to bite you in the ass, no matter what you do. Anyways, so then after that, I basically told her, I was like, this is the last conversation that you and I are ever going to have. So if you need to say something about our relationship or anything, or me, whatever, it needs to be said right now, okay? And I was like, fuck it, I'll go first. And all I really wanted from this conversation was a why she tried to fuck me over a couple months ago. Why she tried to send me to jail and ruin my life. I wanted a why. And the basically the gist of the reason I kept getting was she was too stupid to realize what she was doing, but she's not a dumbass. Like, she's not an idiot. So I was like, this is fucking bullshit. I know you're lying to me. Like, I was basically just kept telling her, I was like, these reasons aren't good enough. This doesn't make any sense at all. Like, she tried to tell me she didn't scheme to get me in trouble. I'm like, there's no fucking way. You just stumbled upon, here's a potential 5 years in jail, Kyle. Like, no. Fuck out of here, bro. Fuck out of here with that bullshit. And then so I told her, I like sat there and I was like, and here's how I realized I was really done with her, by the way. What did she do with domestic violence? You weren't here for the beginning part, but no, she tried to get me thrown in jail for, she tried to say I stole a bunch of stuff and get me thrown in jail. That's the gist of it. The gist, okay? That story I've told a couple times now, and I'll probably tell again in the future. But either way, it was, I got out of it because they didn't have a good enough plan. Let's put it that way. Her and my old manager. Anyways, sticking to you forever? Yeah, but a kid would have been worth it, Douglas. Like, I would have still respected her because she would have been the mother of my kid, like, no matter what, if that makes any sense. Here we go. So, I sit back, and here's how I knew I was done with her, by the way. No, I know, Stretch. Every time, like, even my dad was like, dude, she is the most manipulative girl I've ever heard you be with, and stuff like that, and I'm like, I'll get to that point in the story. My dad comes in later, but, so, here's how I knew I was done with her, is because she started crying, and most of the time when girls I care for start crying, because obviously I still have love for this girl, I can't just turn that switch off, I dated her for a year. Anyways, when she started crying, none of my anger went away, which never happens, by the way. Anytime a woman starts crying in front of me that I somewhat care about, my heart just fucking melts, and I can't stay mad at them. But she started crying, it pissed me off even more. Like, I was so angry. I didn't yell at her or anything like that. I was being very civil, and I told her, like, I sat back and I was like, look, all I want to know is at what point in our relationship you lost respect for me. And she basically, actually, preface this a little bit before, sorry, I'm skipping a little around in the story a little bit too much. But she basically told me that the main reason that, it took her too long to realize that she wasn't as into the relationship as I was. And I was like, so instead of just saying, hey, Kyle, I'm not as into you as I was before, let's cut this off, you tried to ruin my fucking life? I was like, bullshit. That is No, that's not good enough. I'm sorry. That answer's just not good enough. Like, what the fuck? And then so I asked her, I was like, I just need to know at what point you've lost respect for me in our relationship. And she just like started crying a lot and was like, you know what? That's enough. And like picked up all her stuff, got her smoothie, slammed the door to my truck. And I was like, I told her as she was leaving, I was like, you know what? Yeah, that is enough. Thank you for everything. And I drove off and I was like super angry and then I just fucking lost it, bro. I just started bawling, like crying in my truck because I just had the worst night, like second worst night of my life. And, I'm also found out I wasn't going to be a dad and had just like a super emotional conversation then. And I went up to my dad's office and he made me feel a lot better. He explained like, he kind of validated what I was feeling and things like that. And I've never felt emotions like that night ever in my life, bro. I felt so lost, like, after all of that, because I finally feel, fucking finally, that she is out of my life, like, for good. And it's such a good feeling. Like, she's finally gone, bro. I can finally move on. But the thing is, I feel like I'm on a whole new playing field with no direction. And past me, that would have excited completely. Like even one of my friends I was talking to about this was like, that would have excited you normally. What changed? And I was like, I struggled at the beginning of this year with if I was a good person or not. And I truly did not think I was, like, at all. I had strayed too far away from my normal morals. And I was really, like, unhappy with myself as a person. But I've truly been working on that for, I'd say, about 2-ish months now. And I think I was finally back to a point where I think I am a good person again. But it also it like planted seeds of self-doubt where there used to be zero self-doubt at all. So it took me like, and this is out of character for me, but it took me like 3 days to even want to like get out of bed, like at all, bro. And at one point I just basically decided, which is today, I was like, fuck this. Fuck that. Fuck all this being sad bullshit. I was like, you know what? I wanted to be out of the house for a year and make something of myself, and half of that year is gone, but we got a whole another 6 months to barrel ahead and do whatever the fuck I want. No strings, no dumb bitch following me around, like trying to ruin my life. Like, this is the most clear-headed I have been in so long. I am down 40 pounds from when her and I dated. I look the best I ever have. Like, I have at least enough money for rent this month. I have an actual potential job opportunity. I have people hitting me up for coaching. Like, this could be the best half year of my fucking life so far, thus far. And you know what? Instead of just like wallowing in my own self-pity, fuck that, bro. I'm down to chase. That's why I've been so happy on this stream, because I actually was able to make myself get up and do this shit. And you're young, you're straight vibing. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna read some of these messages. I was going on a rant, though. I get it, but at the same time, I don't. My mind, I wouldn't want a kid with anyone unless that person was like my soulmate, the one type deal. But in your case, you actually hate this girl's guts and try to. But yeah, but I can be cordial with someone and not like them. That's the thing. I can compartmentalize my hate for someone, especially if it's in terms of a kid, because my parents on purpose never argued around me, even though they were divorced, and I respect that, and I thought that was a great way to go about it. So I would do that for a kid if I had one anyways. Yet, still would have been okay with a kid. A kid you would have probably seen once a week while getting slammed for child support. Fuck that. She is not. I don't think she would have wanted anything to do with that kid, which is why I said I would have raised it by myself. Did you tell her off? I don't know. You tell me. Is right consequences for you financially and education. Consequences. That's the thing, though. Is the benefits would have outweighed the consequences a lot. And I'm sorry, but you're not really going to change my opinion on this. Like, I'm not saying I should have a baby at this age, and I know this. I'm not dumb. But shit happens, Life happens. If I did have a child at this point, like, I would be giddy as fuck, Like, my whole mindset that night changed completely. I had a whole new plan of what I wanted to do, like, because I was no longer thinking for me. I was thinking for me, and, like, no decision was no longer made out of selfish intent. It's all the reason you didn't, this girl sounds completely fucked up. She is. She'd hold that kid over you as a fucking hostage. She better not. But, I mean, obviously, it doesn't matter now. I'm kind of glad for you. You don't have to go through raising a kid with her. And the more days that go by, I'm glad as well. But I was still... You can't help how you feel, Especially, what the fuck. Be very careful when you fuck women, especially crazy women. I didn't think it took me, until she blindsided me, I didn't think she was crazy. And it's my fault for even sleeping with her for a couple weeks again after she came back to this town. Yes, that was dumb. I agree. Hold on. Let's see. Woman do a lot stretch? Wait, what? She made up that pregnancy story, I'm pretty sure. That's what everyone around me is saying. And again, I would have thought the same. Like, that's why the waiting all night doesn't make sense. His pharmacies close at midnight. It was 9 fucking p.m. We could have got it done, Like, hope you don't regret. Come on, wait. Hope I don't regret saying what? Which part? She made you wait all night to make you nervous? Oh, it made me more than nervous. I am never an anxious person. I never get anxious. The only time I've ever gotten anxious in my life is when I'm playing in a StarCraft tournament and I'm about to beat someone I've never beat ever before. Then I get jittery. Otherwise, never. But I was literally having a solid panic attack for 15 fucking hours straight. It was an experience I hope I never have to go through ever again. 100% intentional. She was living inside your head rent free. That was the purpose for her saying she might be pregnant the moment she said she was on Groovy's mind the entire exactly. And what am I supposed to do? Like, I can't just get her off because what if she, like, that's why I got so mad the next day. I was like, please fuck off, go away, never talk to me again. Like, and the thing is, I broke my rule. My self-rule for myself is never be friends with your exes on purpose so you can get over them. But she, like, insisted this last time that we be friends. And I was like, fine. And she was sliding up on all my Snap stories, trying to keep tabs on my life. Like, all this shit, bro. I didn't slide up on any of her stories. I never hit her up first. Nothing. And then just out of the blue, you look real happy. I'm like, yeah, I guess. Oh, by the way, I might be pregnant. Pretty sure it's yours. Was never going to tell you, but I'm going to abort it. What? Like what? You said you're a good person, but you still play Protoss? I play random, okay? That makes me only 33% bad, obviously. The fuck? That's sad. Women will do that, but they will. It's sad that she would do that. This girl is rich as hell. Like, according to her mom, I'm the biggest loser that ever existed. Like, but I think she knows. I know, and she knows she'll never find someone as good as me. And that's not being an asshole. That's just the truth. Like, there will be no one that caters to how fucking weird that girl is as much as I did. And if there is, sorry, they're probably not going to be as good of a person as I was either. So it's like, I'm just saying, she found the gem early on, and she finally gave me enough reason that the logical part in my head took over the heart, which takes a lot for me, by the way. And, yeah, fuck that. Fuck that. Fuck that. She seemed very nice when she was on stream. James, he was such a mental case. I know, bro. So manipulative, can't even see it coming. I was blindsided by her betrayal back then. Not going to find someone as humble as our man Groovy either. It's not humility. The thing is, I know I'm a good boyfriend. Like, I've been in multiple relationships, and I know that most of the time I wasn't the problem. Now, do I do stupid shit? Of course. But when I love somebody, I go all in on that person. Like, I cater to them. I make sure I do the absolute best I can. And if that isn't enough for them, okay, that's fine. Move on to the next one. Like, put it this way. There will be a girl that if she even puts in half the effort I put into a relationship, we gonna be rocking this fucking world, bro. Yo. You'll get better at detecting bullshit like this in the future? Oh, yeah. No. I learned a lot. I learned a lot from this. It wasn't a pleasant experience, but I definitely learned a lot. You sound like a good guy. I hope you find a good woman someday. It's not an if, but it's a when, Because I am definitely a hopeless romantic, so. And I do want kids eventually. That doesn't mean that wanting kids doesn't mean I'm just gonna, like, hope that one gets pregnant. Like, fuck that. Oh, that was also another thing, is I don't wear protection a lot. Might be TMI, but I don't wear protection a lot when I have sex. But I've been having unprotected sex for 6 fucking years, and I've never had a pregnancy scare, not once. Like, pull out game A1, and you're gonna tell me that we fucked, like, a month ago, and it wasn't like, I know myself, but I know shit happens, by the way, but she's on birth control, and I know I pulled out on time, so it's just like, it was so weird, bro. It was literally like, what the fuck? It was like, but I understand this shit happens, because the way I was made was through birth control and through a condom, so it's like, shit does happen. I was the same, but eventually that catches up. Of course. I know shit happens. I'm not dumb. Stupid idea. Whatever, bro. Put it this way. If I'm with somebody, I can see a potential future with them. So, if I have a kid, it's not really the end of the world. At least on my mind at the time. Now, I'm not saying hindsight isn't a bitch, okay? Because hindsight is always a bitch. You got 20/20 vision in that hindsight, right? All it takes is antibiotics. Yeah, I know. That's how I was made. There you go. But, bro. So that was my life for the last week. Hours cut from a job, potential pregnancy, like, Just bend me over with no lube, why don't you? You know? And we're back. We're back at it like a bad habit. That's how my daughter was conceived, and 17 years later, you wouldn't change it for the world, right? Like, that's what you mean? If you're with someone, it's more logical that you're just horny as fuck looking to smash. You're a teenager still, chances are you'll take what you can get and upgrade from there. I mean that with no disrespect. Actually, I don't. I literally don't do hookups because sex has to mean something to me. Like last time I went to hook up with a girl, was a couple months ago, and I was literally in her house, literally, like, both half naked. I was literally sucking on her titties, bro, and I thought to myself, I was like, why am I here? Because if you don't know somebody, the sex isn't gonna be good. You don't know what they like. Like, it's just not gonna be good. And she fucking looks at me, grabs a condom, and asks if I'm ready. And I just straight up to her face was like, I really don't want to have sex with you tonight. And the embarrassment on her face, bro. She just super quickly put her shirt back on, and we sat there and like awkwardly talked for like 5 minutes. And I was like, I'm gonna go. And this is at like 5 in the morning, by the way, because she texted me at 9:30 that night and was like, hey, you know, like, you should come over. And I was streaming, so I was like, I just ignored it. And then I texted her back at like 2:30, bro, to be nice. And I was like, oh, hey, sorry I didn't see this, but if you're still up, I'll come over. And she immediately, 2 minutes later, texted me back like, yeah, come over. And I'm like, fuck. And then that happened. Yeah. Anyways, I bet you think she have erectile dysfunction or something after that comment. I mean, she wasn't like a 10 out of 10, and the sex was just gonna be meh. Like, I don't know. I like knowing my women, you know? If I'm gonna, like, I like having some emotional connection if I'm gonna be having sex with you. Like, if I'm gonna be putting my dick inside you, I want to at least care about you, you know? She thought she had a good booty call surprise. It didn't help that she talked about her ex for like an hour, by the way. That didn't turn me on anymore, let's put it that way. Like, what guy says no to sex? I don't know. Me, I guess. Groovy should write a book about how to cripple someone's self-esteem. No, that doesn't help. Respect, Groovy, for going with your gut. Thanks, man. I don't know. I don't put sex on a pedestal like every other dude. It's not like, in my experience, the girl nuts more than I do during sex. Like, my first girlfriend that I was ever having sex with, bro, I didn't get off, like, more than half the times. It's just not good. It's just not good. Like, my sexual experiences in life have been good, like, 6 months into our relationship, starting from there. Once I completely figure them out, then they kind of at least somewhat know what I like, then it gets good. But until then, it's like, man. But you also like them at the time, so it doesn't matter, you know? Like, once I'm into somebody, I A, don't ever notice any other girls, like, legitimately. And B, like, they can look at me a certain way, and I'm just like, oh, yep, I'm ready to bang. Ready to bang. Da-da-da. But if I'm not in a relationship and I don't know them that well, they can be 10 out of 10, super smoking fine. And I'm like, eh. But I mean, there are some girls, of course. But you get my point. You get my point. Ruby is actually Gandhi, secretly celibate? Nah. If the opportunity arises, she's cute enough, she's funny enough, she's cool enough, she wants to bang. I mean, I'm not gonna stop myself if I'm in, if I'm about it. But that's the thing, is I gotta be about it. I'm the same as you, Groovy. You're not alone in this. I didn't think I was alone in this. I mean, I have a couple friends who agree, but I just don't get the whole hookup culture. My first girlfriend left because she woke with me spooning my Sarah Kerrigan waifu pillow. I feel like that's cap. I don't feel like that's true. I feel like you're capping on that story, bro. Anyways, thank you guys for listening to my